Hi, welcome to the second video on data visualization using ggplot. Today we're going to talk about that AES value, which is aesthetics. So what is an aesthetic? Well, it's a visual property of the objects in your plot. So you set them to depend on a variable value. So if a property doesn't contain information about a variable but just changes in its appearance, you set it outside the AES but inside the mapping. So let's see what that means. So for instance, if I did this, right, then I'm saying the data set is MPG, the mapping is X is the displacement, Y is the highway, miles per gallon. The color is going to depend on the class of the data set. All of that is inside the aesthetic. So you see color depends on one of the variables. But size, it does not depend on one of the variables, so I set it outside the aesthetic, and then I can see, I hope, that I have made all the sizes larger, but those do not depend on any of the variables. However, the class, which was my third variable here, enables me to sort of see in 3 dimensions, even though I've got a 2-dimensional plot. So my plot looks exactly like it did before, except that instead of the points being all in black, now they are colored based on what class vehicle I have. So I can sort of see that the mid-size vehicles are in this area. These are all pink and blue, so those are SUVs and pickups, right, that have the lowest highway miles per gallon. And I can see up here in this corner, I have the smallest engines but the best mileage from the subcompacts and the compacts, which is kind of what I would expect. So take a minute and experiment with setting different shapes. So you can set the shape to a number from 0 to 20, and I suggest you look up some of your resources, your online resources, to see what those different ones are and play with the shapes rather than having just round dots. So there's a lot of different shapes you can use, and then your first exercise will be to work numbers 1 through 6 in our online textbook. Now, one of the things that's a common problem is you may get an error if you don't have your plus sign at the end of a line. So for instance, if I did this same thing, but I tried instead to put the plus down here, it's going to treat it as 2 different lines and give me an error. Okay, so you have to be sure when you break your lines, and you should break up into multiple lines after your ggplot, after each geom, after each thing that you are adding to your graph, so that it's more readable. Okay, so work exercise 1, which is actually 6 exercises, but that's the first exercise we're assigning. So this will take you a little while, but exercise 1 through 6 at the end of section 3.3.1 or pages 12 to 13 in your book. And come back for video 3.